Hello, hello, and happy Friday. It's Friday. Hello out there in YouTube land. Kyla here. Welcome back for those of you that might be joining a first, second, third, fourth, or fifth time. It is, it's a pleasure to have you here. Those of you that join live, it helps me not feel like I'm speaking into an abyss. So that's always fun. Um, this has been a very interesting experiment so far. So just to give you some context for those of you who might be joining in for the first time, my name is Kyla Givehand. This is my YouTube channel. Welcome. I have gone by many names on this YouTube channel, everything from Giving Hands Creative to just Kyla Givehand to Healing Arts Creative Studio, all the things. So you may have come to find me through one of those many ways. Sacred Makers might be the way that you found me this year, or maybe through Life Academy. So, hi, Linda. Welcome back. Um, so, I am trying to reconnect to my YouTube channel, to the community here, to see to see if this is a place that I want to start to commit and devote some more time to. I started this channel back in 2012 when I began the Book in a Day project that I did in 2013. And that set me on a trajectory that I could not have anticipated, could not have scripted, could not have planned at all. It was beautiful and amazing and it just kick started a whole thing. So I did that and I was very active on YouTube. I mean, I was posting every single week. And then in 2014, I did Book in a Day, but I did it once a month. And then I was posting other things and I was dabbling here with this. And then I did a series on fountain pens because I am a fountain pen collector and have been since I was 17 years old. When I begged my mother to buy me my first fancy pen for like $45 and she was appalled. She was like, how dare you ask me to buy you a $40 pen when you have very good 50-cent pens right here. So that started a whole journey of me, just collecting pens. So I've done a lot of things on this channel. I have lived a very wide life. I continue to live a wide life. I am multi-passionate, multi-talented. I have a lot of things that I do, but at my core, at my center, I am all about creative empowerment, period. End of discussion. So whatever I can do to creatively empower myself and others, that's where my work lands. And so this series is about me reconnecting to all the things that I love, sharing the things that I love. I'm calling it the ABCs of Me. And it is actually something that I did in 2019, not as a series, but 2019, I did a depth year where I went deeper instead of going wider in life. And in doing that, I really got to go deeper with some of the things that I love. And I did it to put some constraints around it. I made a list of ABCs that gave me the sort of parameters to follow. So that is where I am. My journey has been crazy pants, amazing and wonderful. I've done so many things. My husband and I have built a business over 20 years that is something we cherish and love. We get to do the work in the world that brings us joy, helping people figure out who they are and how to be exactly that and only that in this great big world that tries to convince us to be one thing or the other. And so we are really big on helping people uncover the mystery of who they are. So we've started a mystery school. It's called the Life Alchemy Academy Mystery School. And it is in its very first infant year. It is being born as we speak. And so but it will eventually be our flagship program. We are pretty sure of it. So it's a journey that we are on. as spiritual creatives, as creatives who are spiritual, however you want to think about that. But we are doing this work because we know this is the work we're meant to do in the world. My husband is a yoga instructor, and he is going through a yoga therapy certification program that is pretty intense and will, I think, help gel all of this work that we're doing, help bring it all together. And so I'm really looking forward to the next few years. But in the meantime, all of the work we do, and I think going forward in the world always will be geared towards creatives. It is all about you, because creativity is really about self-expression, and self-expression is really about speaking your truth, authenticity. It's about you finding your joy, your bliss, and not compromising that for anything or anyone. And I know it's easy to say, it's hard to do, and that's why we're here to help people do the work. So, with that said, the ABCs of me is really me just sharing all the parts of me, all the things that I love, all the things that I am dabbling in, the things that I am committed to, the things that I am curious about. So I'm sharing lots of things here with you all. And as I do this work, I invite you to ask me questions. So today is letter E day. And so I'm going to be talking about things like energy work and entrepreneurship. My main focus today, though, I think will be embroidery. I have lots of stuff to show around that and talk about that. So that will be the main focus today. But I'll also dip in and out and talk about emotional wellness, what it means to be eclectic is another way to say multi-passionate, I think. I'll also talk a little bit about things like endurance, enthusiasm, excitement. I am a voracious reader. I'll talk about some of the ebooks that I'm loving right now, and maybe even talk a little bit about this eclipse that is upon us very soon here, and maybe some elemental astrology, because one of the sort of focuses for me when I do an astrology reading for someone is I really bring in the elements pretty heavily. So I might talk about that a little bit. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what else emerges. So before we jump to the E, I have to go back one day to yesterday, because I still had all my stuff on my table. And before I cleared it out to start showing you embroidery things, I thought, well, let me just go back and talk about these dominoes from letter D day. So I have my little container here that I'm going to be keeping my dominoes, putting them in. But I thought before I put them away, those of you that were with me yesterday that got to see me doing this, I thought you might want to see the end result. So I did go ahead, and each of them has a little saying on them. And the saying is actually matched to the energy of the number on the other side of the domino. So I'm pretty stinking proud of these. And also I realized I need to go buy another set of dominoes because there are pieces missing, and my double Capricorn brain cannot handle incomplete sets of things. So because I had already used these for other things, I don't have a complete set of my little domino oracle is what I'm calling them. My little domino oracle set here. So I am absolutely 1000% gonna go. I have to run some errands today for my mama. And so while I am out, I'm gonna go and get a complete set of dominoes so that I can do this whole thing with a complete set. And I'm going to call this my prototype, and I'm going to make a new set. And yesterday, I think that I said you'll have 12 dominoes. That's not what I meant, y'all. You know, I mean, I can't count. It's actually 28 dominoes if you go with the double 6 dominoes. And I bought this set from the dollar store for $1, a whole set of dominoes. Now, granted, this was years ago, and the dollar stores in the US are no longer dollar stores. They're now $1.25. Dollar plus is what they're calling them. And so I say that because I doubt that you can get a whole set like this for $1 now. Maybe you can. I don't know. But I'm going to go see what they have, because the cheaper the better. You don't need to spend a lot of money on something that you're going to alter, right? So because I'm going to be altering these. And I did find one other I wanted to show you all. Do you all remember that stuff called diamond glaze? I have some somewhere. It's probably, I haven't used it in so long. It's probably one solid chunk in a bottle right now. But remember that stuff called diamond glaze? This one, I had diamond glaze on that. Isn't that like, it makes it almost look like resin? Also, you could probably use resin, you know? Um, so I thought I'd show you that one because it was one of the ones I don't think I showed you yesterday. So that's my plan. Is I'm going to call this the prototype, and because I also was looking at things like the color combinations that I like and don't like, right? Like I used black on some of them. This one I really loved because the color underneath was so bold. I used a white pen, and it kind of activated. You can almost see that it kind of activated, in some of that white pulled in a little bit of that purple, and it's got like, I don't know, I like the effect of it. So I'm like, maybe I should do a whole set like that. Also, just looking at my handwriting, I am embracing that. But I'm also noticing, like, I only did gold on one of them. And I really like it, but it is kind of, I don't know, I think the gold might have looked better on this color, right? So again, this is the reason why we make prototypes for anything, whether it's bookbinding, or any other project or thing that you might be working on, is so that you can see the different things. I use a different nib. I have been using, so for instance, for these two, this one is the 0.7 millimeter, and this one is the bullet point, which is like a 0.18 to 2.5, something like that. So it's a fatter nib, right? And so the difference is there's a distinction. And so that makes me go, oh, which one do I like better? So when I sit down, so again, I'm gonna call this one my prototype, and I am going to, yeah, I'm gonna make a new set. I'm gonna go get a new set, and I don't know when or where or how or when. I'm probably gonna get the set today, maybe, just because it's top of mind. And we'll see. But again, I'm trying not to keep adding projects to my list, y'all. That's the whole point of my 100-day project, is that I'm trying to complete projects. But what I notice about completing projects is it instantly, for me, can't speak for anybody else, it instantly opens up space for new ideas to come in, right? So it's gonna always, I know this, it's gonna always be a one thing out, two things in situation for me, because that's just how it works. Like I said, I'm never short on ideas, so new things will always come in. Okay, so I just wanted to recap that from yesterday. If you're new here or you did not watch yesterday and you're like, what is she talking about? Go back and see me talk about these altered dominoes and what I did with that. So, okay. On to letter E. Actually, let's go back one. Before I get to letter E, let me answer. I got a couple of questions that came in yesterday via email, so I want to answer those. And I want to remind you all that you can absolutely post your questions here in the chat live. Those of you that are here, I am able to see them. And you can also post it in the comments once this video is loaded to, YouTube. And then you can also send via email. And I feel like those of you who have sent me via email so far, it feels like you're sending them via email because maybe you don't want to ask them publicly. And I am totally okay with that. So continue to do that if that feels right to you. And just move that out of the way. Continue to do that if that feels good and right for you. I want you to be able to ask questions, and I want you to be able to do it in a way that feels comfortable to you. Know that if you send it to me via email, I will not say your name, because that's probably why you're sending it to me via emails, because you want to be anonymous or you want it to just come to me, which I'm fine with. Okay, so yesterday I was doing letter D, and in doing that I talked about a lot of things. But I got a question afterwards from someone I have not heard from in forever, y'all. Like, it's always good to get emails from people that you haven't heard from. In fact, I'm going to add email to this list right here to talk about today because I need to speak about email. Let's just go ahead and do it. So let me go back to the question so I can read it exactly as she wrote it. Hey there, Kyla Givehand. I was in your DDD class way back when. Oh, let me start over. Hey there, Kyla Givehand. I was in your DDD class way back when, and I was surprised you didn't mention it on day letter D. Do you still run that program? I would love to join again now that I'm further along in my business. I think I was too new when I did it the first time. Okay, so let me take some little tea, sip of tea here. I will answer that question as I'm talking to that. Well, let me just answer it. It's an easy answer. So yes, I remember you from that program. Thank you for being one of the first to go through that. And the DDD, that program was called Design, Develop, Deliver. And I don't believe in coincidences. I literally had a conversation maybe 2 days ago about design, develop, deliver with someone that had never been in the class. And it's like, maybe I should do a poll with my community and see if that's something people want. But basically, it was a class where I taught people how to build online classes. And I think I might bring it back this year. We'll see. I don't know. My year is pretty packed already, but I also have things that I'm like, do I need to run this again, or should I put something new in its place? So we'll see. Stay tuned. It was by far one of my most popular programs. I think we did it 6 weeks once. We did it 8 weeks one time. One time we did it 12 weeks. 8 weeks is feeling like it might be a good model. So stay tuned if you are interested in that. I mean, I've been running online classes forever, and I have a whole degree in curriculum, instruction, and design with an emphasis on distance learning. So I'm pretty much built for this work, right? So yeah, maybe I'll circle back to that. All right, so let's talk embroidery. I want to kind of focus my energy there because I have so many things I want to show you. So let's just start with that. I'm actually going to start with a very sort of crazy, weird thing here. This is my catch-all bag, a makeup travel bag turned into crafting travel bag. And in it, I keep this little book. And I'm showing this book not because I think you need to go out and buy it. You do not need to go out and buy it. But because I think this book kind of started it for me. That's not true. This book helped me really decide whether or not embroidery was something I wanted to play around with. So it's a really basic book. I've had it for a while. And it was one of those things I bought on a whim. It was, see this little hole? It was like hanging on a hook at Joann's probably, or maybe Hobby Lobby. I don't know which one. And true story, how my brain works. I saw the book and I went, oh, I love those little color swatches with doodles. I didn't even read this. It was like this didn't even exist. I saw color swatches with doodles. That's what my brain saw. Okay. So let's just be honest. And so I grabbed it and I put it in my cart and I didn't look at it. I was just walking around the store getting whatever it is I was there to get. So then I get in the line and the line was long. So I grabbed the book and I'm like looking through it. It's like, oh, this is about embroidery. Okay. Huh. Interesting. So I'm flipping through it and just looking, and I start seeing all these yarns and this color. And I was like, oh, and they're working with needles. Bookbinders have needles. Bookbinders love thread. Oh, yes. And then I got to like this page and was like, oh, circles. Like this is literally how my brain works, y'all. So I'm going through and I'm flipping through the thing. And I was like, oh, fun stitches. So I have this thing. Let me pause here for a moment, see if I can even find my journal. I have this thing that I started doing probably in, I don't know, I'm going to say like 20, I was still in Oakland. So probably about 2014, I started doing this thing where on my books, let's see if I can find one. Oh man, of course I won't be able to find one now that I just said, oh, on my books. Okay, I'll see if I can find it at some point. But I used to do this thing on my books where I would stitch red X's on the front of it. It was kind of like my little, oh, wait, I see one. Hold on. Okay, I used to do this thing where I would stitch on the front of my books these little red X's. And you probably can't really tell that that's red because the color is being weird on this camera, but red X's. Okay. So I saw that and I was like, oh, this book's meant for me for sure. In fact, I did one on my PPP 2024 journal this year, my little red X. And it does have symbolic meaning for me. I won't talk about that. It's kind of personal, but it is, yeah, that whole thing. So I saw that and I was like, okay, all right, I think I'm supposed to get this book. So I went ahead and got the book. And I realized when the stitches began, I think back here. So it was like showing the running stitch and showing all these different stitches. And I think it has 18. It says it has 18 fully explained stitches or whatever. So I was reading through them and I was like, do I understand what these people are saying? I don't know. I can read, I know what it says. And so I just went to YouTube, as one tends to do, and I Googled running stitch. I know what a running stitch is in bookbinding, and I was like, okay, maybe it's the same. I was seeing different things here. I was like, I don't know, maybe it's not the same. So I just started searching all these different stitches and finding people who were teaching them and like doing tutorials showing you how to do them. And by the way, one of my absolute favorite things to do in embroidery is couching. I love a good couching. Oh my God, makes me happy. Still working on my technique for the blanket stitch. Have not tried this laced running stitch, but I think I'll like it because it's basically weaving, running stitch and weaving together, weaving in and out. So it's some really cool ones in here. And I'm trying to see, there was another one in here that seed stitch is my jam. It's my go-to stitch. I seed stitch on everything. It's just hand it to me and it's probably going to be a running stitch or a seed stitch because those are really easy to just do. You don't have to memorize the different ways to do them. French knots took me a while to learn, but now that I've learned them, love them, love them. So anyway, my whole point is that this started something for me. And I've kept this book in my little journal ever since. And I want to say I got this in probably 2019, maybe, but it was, yeah, it just felt serendipitous. So, okay. So now what has that done for me? It's so funny because I have so many little things that are embroidery like that I never even, when I sat down to pull out things for this, I was like, oh my gosh, I do have a lot of things. This is clearly something that I really enjoy because I keep picking it up in different ways. Okay. So I honestly don't know where to begin. So I am just going to, why don't we just unpack what's in here? And as I do, I will talk about it. So hair marker, always a good thing to have. This is not necessarily something for embroidery, although I use it for that. Lots of pins, always. Beeswax. As a bookbinder, we just have beeswax because, well, can you call yourself a bookbinder if you don't have a chunk of beeswax sitting somewhere? I love scissors. I have so many pairs of scissors. It's not, y'all. I need to be in Scissors Anonymous. I just do. A good seam ripper. Always got to have that. And then lots of binding clips. Let's see. But my real favorite thing about embroidery, y'all, if I'm being honest, is working on different fabrics. I love to work on linen. I am obsessed with linen. You're going to see that in a moment here. But I also, I love the fabrics that I get to play with and the thread. I am ridiculous with thread. I have so much thread. It's crazy pants. It just never stops. And this is just what's in the travel bag, right? Really love DMC, really love pearl cotton. Pearl cotton, I think, is probably my favorite thing to work with because it gives such a thick, bold looking line. But I also love that you can get it in different thicknesses. I think the proper term is weights, different weights. But I also found this brand last year that I really loved. It's called Love Mag, and it's satiny. Like, satiny is not the right word. It's very soft. It has the softness to it that I really love. It almost feels silky. I don't think it's silky or satin, but it's yummy. I love this. I gave people at Sacred Makers 3 of these per person. This JB Coats is also not bad, but it's very, I'm just going to make up words to use to talk about the embroidery. This probably is not the terminology that people really use in the embroidery world. So those of you who are like purist when it comes to embroidery, love me anyway, okay? But this feels very fibrous versus satiny, silky, soft. Versus pearl cotton has texture to it, and I think is really good for adding texture. So this JMP Coats brand I like for when I want that sort of rough, rustic kind of look on my stuff. And then of course there's our all-time favorite brand, DMC. And so, yeah, I have learned more about thread than you can imagine. Also, love buying it when it's on the ball. I'm still learning how to handle these little skeins. How do y'all say it? But I like the balls. They are easy to work with, and so yeah, I like getting the pearl cotton in these little balls here. And then I have, sets that are on little, I don't even know the name of those things, on the little squares. That's what we're going to call it. Okay, so I'm going to put those in. You're going to see more thread here because probably everything that I pull out has thread in it. I just keep thread lurking around in my life. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay, so I also really love when I want to have a really thin, fine line. I also like to just use sewing thread. I know some of you are like, oh, don't you dare. But I do dare. I do dare. Okay, let's look at some other bits. If you're here live in the chat, let me know. Are you an embroidery person? Do you do embroidery? Embroidery? I feel like I say that word wrong, and I feel like I change how I say it every 3 times I say it. So from this point forward in the video, I will probably refer to it all as slow stitching. Okay. Like how I did that announcer voice. Oh, I'm a silly goose sometimes. Okay. I have every size hoop you can think of. Okay, that's not true because I did see a woman on Instagram recently that had a hoop as big as my body. I was like, what is she doing with that hoop? What could she possibly be doing? How can she possibly be holding that? So but I do. I find that I am collecting hoops these days. That has become a thing for me. So I am, gosh, y'all, I don't really know where to start here. Let's see. Here's a hoop that I just got recently. I haven't even taken the tag off of it, but I thought, oh, an oval hoop. I like that. I don't know what I'll do with it or whatever, but I mean, I do know what I'll do with it, but I don't have any like specific project in mind for it. But I thought, what a neat, and it was pretty, I thought, inexpensive. It is plastic, so depending on how you feel about plastic. But see, this is not the kind of thing that I'm going to throw away plastic. So there you go. Linda says, I embroider from time to time, but it isn't one of my main practices. Yeah, so it is definitely becoming one of my main practices, both for meditative reasons and stress reduction, but also because, my goodness, I love the sound of pulling thread through fabric. It is crazy pants. Never thought I would say that in 1,000 years, but it's a thing, and I'm digging it. So I have lots of different hoops. I have wooden hoops. I have really sort of basic thin wooden hoops. I have a couple of wooden hoops that are a little more fancier wood, I think I would say. And then I have a ton of plastic ones because I will keep a project on a hoop for months. And you're going to see some of that in a moment here. Let's see, what else can I do next? Let's see. I found this. This was in, I haven't even opened this. Let's open this together. How about it? This was something I found at a thrift store. And I think I paid like $1 for it. It was, I think it's something that's like brand new that somebody never used. And they just, yeah, maybe somebody found and was like, I don't even know what to do with that. So it came with a hoop. It came with this beginner embroidery stitches thing. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so let's open it together because I've not even looked at this. I mean, I looked at it when I bought it, but it's been sitting in a bag. Oh, wow. More thread. So there's thread in here. Needles. Why are there so many needles? This is bizarre to me. Anyway, this is what happens when you buy things at a thrift store. You get fun, amazing surprises. So it's got, oh, it has multiples. Look at this. I'm so excited about this, y'all. Listen, okay. Some of you right now are probably like, this woman is ridiculous. Seriously, you don't even know how happy. I know the lighting sucks right now because whenever you put something white on here, it gets weird. Okay, let's see if we can lighten it up a little bit. I guess if my hand stays in the frame, it lightens it up. That's curious. All right, I'm gonna just keep my hand in the frame at all times. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm feeling some kind of way about this, like super giddy, ridiculous, schoolgirl, fangirl, like just all the things, all the feels right now. Okay, so apparently I have another project that I need to be working on. Okay, so I love a good sampler. I love when things are printed like this and then you can just stitch on them. In fact, that's where I'm going to go next and show you another thing that I'm loving right now. So this is Crazy Pants that this was at a thrift store or Goodwill. I can't remember. We have a thing here called Teen Challenge, which is like a thrift store dedicated to helping youth who are at risk better themselves, have better lives. It teaches them job skills. They come into that place and they work. They learn how to sort the clothes. They learn how to work the cash register. They learn how to do customer service by helping the people walking around in the store. They learn a lot of different things in there. And then all of the proceeds go to this Teen Challenge program. So some of you may have a Teen Challenge in your home, where you live. And I think that this is where I bought this from. It was kind of like sitting in the toy section, and I don't even know why was I in the toy section. I don't have children. I'm not buying toys for people. I don't know. But this was there. And oh my goodness, I am just like, what? Somebody clearly didn't know what they had in their hands when they gave this away. But it's brand new, y'all. Like it had never been opened, it looked like. So I am just feeling quite lucky right now. Let me say that. Okay, so this will be yet another project that I will complete soon. All right, so it's got its needles, it's got all those. And yeah, even when I looked at it, I'm going to just tell you, when I looked at it, I definitely saw this one thing. I didn't even read it to see that there are 3 cloths in here. Yeah, I just didn't. That's crazy. Okay. I'm pretty stoked about this, if you cannot tell. Let's see what this little paper in here says also. Oh, it even gives you some diagrams, which I'm not sure will be helpful, but they're there. Little instructions, how to use your needle thread or separate your frost, set the hoop. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Came with these little scissors and a little needle threader, and looks like probably a seam ripper. This is gonna be a blast. All right, and then I feel like this is separate from this. I feel like these don't actually go together, but maybe they got clumped together for some reason. I mean, I don't even know how to open this. Huh. That's curious. Do they want you to open it? I don't. It feels like a little Ziploc type thing, but then I'm like, do they really want you to open this? Let's find out. Oh my gosh. Make it harder, please. Whew. I like that little needle threader because it's a little bit sturdier than those ones that you usually get. I have no idea why they would give you why there would be this many needles in here, but I'm okay with that. Let's take a look. They almost feel like Sashiko needles, but they're really little needles. Let's see what it says on here. 100 pieces cross stitch needles. Huh. Okay. I don't do cross stitch. I haven't dabbled in that yet. But there you go. I have 100 cross stitch needles and a new hoop and 3 things that I can play with here and lots of new threads. So I'm quite excited about it. Oh, and I was trying to see how much I paid for it. I paid $1.47 for it. Look at that. I got the Help Teen Challenge and I got something that I'm excited about. All right. That's a lot of crinkly paper. Sorry, y'all. That's probably super loud in your ears. All right. So the reason I got so ridiculously excited about this, y'all, is because I love a good stitch sampler. So let's go there next. And let me share with you some of my stitch samplers. I love it when there's already like a pre-printed thing on there. I also love the ability to pre-print my own. More hoops. I think I'll just buy hoops when I see them, which is crazy. I know. Is this the bag I'm looking for? Tis not. All right, I have to find it, people. I have to find it. All right, I'm looking. Okay, I'm not finding the things I'm looking for in this moment. So we are going to go to, I'm going to go to talking about miniature round, Jessica Marquez. This woman is doing some amazing work in the world. And I'm just going to pull out a bunch of her things that I have so you can see and check out what she does in the world. Also, I'm going to ask you to reserve judgment of me in this moment because I have so many of these that are not finished, not even started. Every single one that I have ever gotten from her, I still have. I surely do. And they come, and they just keep coming, and they just keep coming. I have a bunch of them, and I'm going to open them up and show you all. I'm not going to open up all of them. A few of them I already have opened. But I am going to show you some of the things, right? So she has a pattern club, and I'm pretty sure it's still running. Give me a second here. Oh Lord, I have so many things in this bag. It's like Christmas. It's like Christmas. Okay, that's enough to show, I think, in this moment. So let's start with, so Jessica has this pattern club that she does. Now, Jessica is known for her visible mending and for Sashiko. And so she does these beautiful little kits you can buy too, little sampler kits that I bought this one from her, either in person or from her website, but she sells them both. I've opened this one, but I haven't done the projects that are in it. But it comes with needle, it comes with white thread, it comes with pre-printed fabrics that have the grids pre-printed on them for you to work with. She also sells grid stencils, and I have several of them because I bought one from her. I got one when I took her class, and then I got one when I took a class with Rachel Barclay. So I have several of these, and they are really interesting because they are made from a really thick like cardboard instead of plastic. So Jessica is very much into sustainability and recycling of things. And so I think that's also how she got into visible mending. Maybe. I don't know her full story about how she got in. So I'm just saying, I think that makes sense to me. That's an easy sort of leap. I also got the opportunity to purchase some things from her in person. So I have a lot of like bits that I purchased from her in person, where she would sell like, just pieces for you to play with that already have pre-printed things on them. And then you could totally like patchwork these into something else. But she has all sorts of ones in different shapes and sizes. And I really love that because it just makes it easy. You already have a grid, just get started. You don't have to draw the grid on there. You can just, yeah. So I have a ton of these. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I think these are going to make their debut in on some books coming up soon here. Might even use some of these. So, and then, yeah, this one's a really big piece. And so, and I love this color. It's like a burgundy. I could see doing like a nice cream or even a gold, a yellow gold for my Florida State Seminoles. So yeah, this is she has these. I don't know if she sells these pieces on her site. I imagine she does, but these I'm pretty sure I bought from her in person at Sacred Makers when she was teaching there. And so, yeah, just really good. I mean, and also Jessica is very much committed to that whole sustainability and, not using more, not making more waste. And so I know that these fabrics are often reclaimed. She lives in New York or New Jersey, one of them, I think New York. And there is a place there that is like, I think it's called Scrap something or other. And she works very closely with them and gets lots of her fabrics and things from them. They are sort of like a repository for where fabric goes to die. And so they reclaim it and they do some beautiful things. This canvas one is making me happy. I didn't even know I had it in my stash. I'm totally going to be stitching on this and turning it into a journal cover. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't I? So I love that, you know, she sells these things. And then if you're in her pattern club, you get, I think it's quarterly. Let me just, let's see. You receive 6 packages total. Packages are mailed bi-monthly. And she says, I aim to mail the second week of the month. So February, April, June, etc. So let's see what else. Then she also does these meetups on Zoom that are part of this. Now, I am telling you this. I've been in her pattern club since 2022. She may or may not still be doing this, but I have a sneaky suspicion she is. So yeah, check her out, Miniature Rhino. And let's see, let me find one that I did open. All right, let's look at one that I've opened just so you get a sense of what you get in her kits, in her pattern club. It always comes with a pre-printed fabric. Ooh, this feels yummy. Comes with a pre-printed fabric. I love this fabric. I don't know what that is, but that's nice. I like that a lot. So it has a pattern on it. And then she gives you a thread to go with it. And then you always get like a little note in it. And I love that Jessica always writes me a little special private note on the back of mine. I always flip them over to see if she said something to me. But she'll say things like, she'll tell you what she's calling it. So for instance, this one says, I'm calling it Tao thanks to the naming help of a club member, Caitlin, who suggested the name. I sent out an email asking for your thread color preferences and if you had any ideas about naming this pattern. Caitlin suggested Tao after the city in New Mexico because it reminds me of the Southwest and some of the gorgeous fabrics and patterns I've seen there. Jessica said, I totally agree. I spent a year living in Albuquerque and discovered New Mexico has amazing, colorful sunsets and an unreal love of green chilies. Thanks for the name suggestion, Caitlin. And then, so then she goes on to say there's PDF instructions and video in your email. There's a virtual meetup. She gives you the date and the time. And sometimes she has guests. So this particular one had a guest that led us through a guided meditation. And so, yeah, this was back in August. I don't remember the day. Let's see, August 22, actually. So this would have been that first year I was in it. So I've had this since 2022 and have not done it. So yes, try not to judge me too harshly on that. So like I said, it's a really cool thing. And she's built a whole community around this. And I think it's pretty friggin' awesome. So, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Even though I don't participate like I need to. I am going to. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there, y'all. I'm just not there yet. Okay? Okay. All right. So that is Jessica Marquez, Miniature Rhino Pattern Club. All right. Let me find... Let me see if I can find another one that I've been working on. So here's a project that I've been working on for some time, actually. This is just my own like freestyle. It's kind of like my sampler that I'm making for myself of different stitches. You can see I love and favor the seed stitch a lot. I'm practicing the satin stitch here. Practicing the chain stitch and a bunch of other things, and just playing with different threads. Like this is a metallic thread that I absolutely hate. I love how it looks, but it is a beast to work with. It is holy crap hard to work with. You got to have some serious patience, but the result is kind of stunning because then you have this like metallic-y, shimmery, color shifting thing happening on your fabrics, but you got to have some serious patience to work with metallic threads. And so I was trying to go with a theme of elements here, right? Working with colors that are elemental colors. But yeah, I'm still working on it. My goal, and this was just a pouch that I bought from Hobby Lobby. And I was like, oh, it's so plain. I was like, oh, why don't I stitch some things on it? So that's kind of what I've been doing, is just every now and then. Here's me practicing French knots, practicing curves, practicing doing things in a spiral or in circular type motion and shape. So it's just a little bit of, it's just a play, practice, stitching. And so I really love being able to buy something that's kind of plain and elevate it by making it my own in this way. So I just got a little bit of real estate over here I want to do. I'll probably stitch something in this area, maybe something down here. And I was thinking about going all the way around it with just a running stitch all the way around in white, but we'll see. I'm going to wait to the very end to decide if I want to do that. But so that's one of my many, many projects that I'm currently working on. That I need to finish, I guess I should say. Here's another that I've been working on for a bit. I think this one is actually from a class that I took with Tatter Library. There was a woman who taught. I'll have to find it and put it in the description. I'm not even in this moment going to try to pretend like I can remember it 100%. And I know it looks like I have this on backwards, but this is actually intentional. That's just, I did that intentionally. I know it probably looks backwards. I'm working on it from this side, but I was trying something. I was like, why does it always have to be from this side? Let me see what happens if I work with it from this side. So yeah, I did a weird thing there with that. But also, this woman was teaching us about composition with your, how to compose. I can't remember the whole gist of the class, but basically things about composition. And oh my gosh, it was a really great class. I started this piece on it. And this isn't necessarily what she was teaching us. This was almost like her saying, get your stitches in order before you work on your bigger piece, right? Like the bigger thing. So I then was like, I like this as a potential tracker type situation, right? So if I had, I don't even know how many squares I have here, but I just mapped it out. I think that was another thing she was teaching us, is like how to map out your project in a certain way before you do it. So I used a friction pen and mapped it out. And I actually then started kind of drawing like what each section would look like. I knew I was going to start with the seed stitch. And gosh, I don't want to take this hoop off, but I'm gonna, because I want to show you all. Also, this fabric is probably like, thank God I've been in that hoop forever. Because this was a class I took a while ago. I think I took this class in 2022. So it's been in that hoop for a while. But again, unfinished projects. So she really just did a thing with us of just like, even composing things within things, right? So I've got this sort of running stitch happening, and then I inset a little seed stitch. Now, when the lines go away, you won't be able to see that. You'll just see that, oh, she went from a running stitch, and then in the middle, there's some chaos with the seed stitch, right? Or some change up, whatever. So the idea is that you're composing, knowing that you're eventually going to take these lines away, right? And what will your transitions look like, and how will you, yeah. So it was I have to go back and see if I still have access to the replay. I can't remember if I do or not, but it was a really great class. I feel like her first name was Eve or Eva, so I have to find it, but it was through a company called Tatter Library. And if you all don't know Tatter, please go and check them out. Just Google Tatter, Tatter, Tatter Library. They're based out of New York. They have amazing online classes and apparently some really beautiful in-person classes that I hope to attend one day. But they are, so yeah, that was this. So this is a piece of linen that I'm stitching to a piece of cotton fabric to make it a little more sturdier to work with. So there is that project. Oh, and then this project's like initiated and inspired a bunch of other projects that I have going on that are very much like this idea of tracking. Like here's another one where I already gridded out my squares for tracking. And this is on a linen flower sack, flower tea towel sack type situation. But you can see I started already with the grids, and then I'm going to come in and stitch on that. So yeah, I've got a lot of projects started, y'all. Pre-started all the things. I feel like this is another one. Nope, that's something different. So, okay, I wanted to show you what these came from. So this came from these, which came from back when Bed Bath & Beyond was going out of business. Y'all remember that? When they started their whole going out of business thing. Oh, I said linen. Sorry, they're cotton, 100% cotton flour sacks. And there's 4 of them in a thing. And I think I got 4 of them for something like, I think they were selling them for like $13, but because it was their going out of business, I think I got them for like $4, maybe $2. It was very, very cheap. So of course I grabbed every single one they had. And then I called my friend Tiffany. I was like, see if you see these at your Bed Bath & Beyond. But they are awesome, I think, for stitching, for projects, for piecing, for all the things. So I have a bunch of these. I think I bought 5 sets maybe. And so I'm just going to be using those probably for a lifetime because I got a lot of them. But I think it's going to be really cool for projects and things that I have planned in the future. So I feel like it was a good investment. Since we're talking Bed Bath & Beyond, I also bought this table runner from the, let me see what they say. See, it's a table runner. It's 14 by 90. So it's really long, skinny, but super long. And it was whatever, the original price was like $25. But again, this was during their, I think this was on one of their 60% off days. But I am so excited. I am coveting this thing. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but let's see if it tells me the fabric that I'm working with here. It is 52% linen and 48% cotton. So it's a linen cotton blend. And I don't play. Let me just say, my big thought was that this would be something like this, but for a year. So it would hold a year's worth of stitching. And then I would just see what it looked like after a year. So I don't know, but it's still on the thing. So I don't even know if I'm going to end up using it or not. But that's the plan, right? Again, like I said, I'm never short of ideas. I always have ideas. Execution is my issue. Time, space, energy. Those are my issues. Okay, so what else do I want to show you? There's one other person I want to mention, but I can't find the project of hers that I'm working on. So that makes me a little bit hesitant to share it. So give me a second to just look through my bag here. Oh, okay. While we're here, let's talk about eco dyeing. It's letter E day. Oh, let me put these back. And Tiffany Goldsmith at Sacred Makers this year in June is going to be teaching this beautiful eco dyeing workshop. And I'm really excited about it. Here's some of my eco dye things that I've done with her. Yes. This one is actually rust and eco dyed. We did some stuff with hibiscus flowers, maybe. I can't even remember, and some rust dyed things. But this piece of fabric, this was an old pillowcase. Oh, it's just yummy. Look at that. I mean, you can't get these things any other way. So I'm really excited that Tiffany's going to be teaching eco dyeing her way at the lake. There's a piece of corduroy that I eco dyed, and look at these beautiful pieces. So we did this at we either did it at Grits Tour Florala, or we did it Grits Tour South Dakota. I can't remember which one, but just really fun. We had a lot of fun doing that. So I've got those in my stash of things. Look at this one. Is that not freaking yummy? Look at that. Oh, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. So I had these things. I'm gonna do a sniff test because I think we used some vinegar, and I had to wash the bejesus out of this thing to get that vinegar out of them. But this was fun to do. So she's gonna be doing a whole version of that at Sacred Makers in June this year. Okay, I cannot find the one thing I want to show you all. I don't know where it is, and that's kind of bugging me just a tad bit. Okay, so I'm just going to move on because I can't, my brain is not thinking of where this thing is. Another thing I love to do is make little needle books, and I actually made this one in a class I took with Jody Alexander. And she taught a bunch of different stitches. They sent, and again, this was through Tatter Library, and they sent us fabric, a little kit of fabrics. And my goodness, I've never felt linen that felt so yummy. But she taught us a bunch of different stitching techniques. And then we put our little book together. And they had all these little pieces, these little linen pieces that were really yummy. This, by far, is one of my favorite stitches on the planet. And I think it's called the zipper stitch, maybe. I can't remember, but I love this thing. It's just such a beautiful end result that you get with that one. And yeah, then she taught us this little grid pattern. This was like one of my first hand stitch classes that I took. Like from a person. And so it was really fun to do that. And so I made a little needle book. So needle books I have several of them I've made. I had made one before this, sort of out of my head, like what would a needle book entail? And mine is very super wonky, but I love my original one. And then this one is a little more refined because I had instruction, right? I was following a teacher's instructions. But I think it's really important when you're enthusiastic about something. I'll talk a little bit about enthusiasm. When you're enthusiastic about something, it's important that you follow that, right? Like, don't wait till you have a class to take, or like just start and see what happens. And yeah, I made one, and I'll see if I can find it here while we're talking. I made one. It was wonkadoodle. It's cattywampus. It's sideways. None of the stitches are like, it's crazy. But it's mine and I love it. And then I learned a way to refine that by taking a class with another teacher, right? So I think that is really important, that we find the things that make us excited and that we can get enthusiastic about. Okay, what else did I want to show y'all? Let's see here. All right, I'm going to switch gears for a moment. Well, not really switch gears, but I am going to, just put a bunch of stuff on this table for a second so I can see what else is in this bin. Oh, another project to share with you. For sure. holy moly. Y'all, I have so many projects. It's kind of ridiculous. All right, so here's another one I'll talk about. Here, let me put all the little extra projects to speak about over here to the side. Maybe this is the one I'm looking for. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. No. Thank you for your patience with me here. I am crazy hunts. Okay. I'm getting there, y'all. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay. Ooh, this is all in a big bin. That's why I sound like I'm foraging for mushrooms over here. All right. So before I'm going to talk more about fabrics probably tomorrow on letter F day, but I wanted to show you won't be able to see this, but it is it's a man's robe that I got again at a thrift store. And I think there's a hole in it somewhere, which is probably why it was there. But it is, I bought it because, first of all, it's like pristine. It looks, I mean, it's beautifully kept. It's 50% organic cotton and 50% linen. So it's 50-50 linen and organic cotton. And this thing just feels yummy. So my plan, it's huge, by the way. It's like a 2X large, I think. And so too big for Damon. And so, or not, I don't know. I mean, it may just be comfy for him. We'll see. But I bought it with the intention of either cutting it up for fabric to use for, obviously, journals, making journals, but also because I'm always now on the hunt for things that are cotton and linen. I'm trying to just really use natural fibers with things that I work with, but I thought this would be a really cool thing to stitch on or to break down and use the pieces. It's huge. It's really long. You won't be able to see it. But it's just gorgeous. It has these beautiful pockets. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. In fact, I'm going to take it out. It also was supposed to come with a belt, but there was no belt, I don't think. And so I think that's probably why. And I think I probably paid $3 for this, y'all. And it is yummy and gorgeous. Yummy and gorgeous. Hi, Casey. She says, I used to watch you back in the day, book in a day, actually. Lost track of you for a while. So glad to reconnect. Casey, this is exactly why I'm doing this series, is because I also have lost touch with all of you, and I'm hoping to reconnect. So thank you for being here today. I am on letter E, and I'm talking right now. I'm talking all things embroidery, and I haven't talked about much else. So I wanted to show you all a few other projects that I have going on. There was one year, a few years ago maybe, where I was doing a 100 days of soul stitching. And I'm probably going to do that again because I didn't finish my 100 days. But I wanted to say that I also like to combine paper and fabric and stitching all in one thing. So this is honestly packing paper, probably something that came out of an Amazon box or something that I had purchased somewhere. And then a bunch of fabrics. This is one that I jelly plate printed in here. And then some other fabrics that I just had in my stash. And I think I still need to finish one little stitching going all the way around this and maybe down here somewhere. I probably ran out of steam. But I love to do that. I love to combine paper, fabric, and thread. I think it just speaks to the bookbinder in me, right? So there's that. And so I had started by doing these little patches, one a day. And again, this comes from my kit from Liz Kettle, right? Like she already had these pieces, these little white pieces, and then these fabric pieces that she gave us. And so I just started doing that. And then I just started riffing off of that and doing my own sort of like Frankensteining of fabric together with no backing on it necessarily. But I feel like if I keep piecing pieces together, eventually I will have either some sort of like quilted type situation, or I might have, I don't know, like some things I start a project and I don't actually know where they're going. And I'm okay with not knowing at first where they're going. Again, sometimes I just like to stitch paper to paper. I think I had done 3 of these and it was like PPP. So yeah. All right. So that's that. And then that same 100 days of soul stitching, I think I made this lovely thing, which is an 18th century Victorian woman's pocket purse. I think they called it. I can't remember what they called it. But the idea is that you wear this. It's a little belt. You wear this around your waist underneath your dress. And then you have whatever little things you want to have in there. You can put things inside. Now, this was my first time making this, just so you can see the size of it. And this was made from, where was this piece? I think this was a piece of fabric. This top piece was a piece of fabric that I got from a local, we have a local fabric store here called A&E. And I feel like they had a remnant sale, and this was probably from a remnant piece. And then I patchworked, I added, you know, these pieces onto it, did a little applique type, reverse applique thing there. Some of my slow stitching on it. But this is all hand stitched. I did not take it to a machine. So everything's hand stitched on this. Like I'm saying that because y'all, I'm super proud. I am super proud of how this was my first time hand stitching anything and then like turning it in on itself. Look at that. It's not the best in the industry, but I feel darn proud of that. And I'm gonna name it because this is all hand stitched, not a machine, and I feel darn good about it. It's not perfect, but there it is. So, and also, you know, this was my first one, and I did not take a class. I had a pattern from Karen Stevens, and the pattern I followed, but I also am not a sewer, so I made some mistakes in terms of not accounting for the fold over, not accounting for a lot of things. And so even this little hole probably should have come down to here, because if I'm being honest, my hand cannot, I mean, it can get in there, but I got to really like work it to get it in there and be really careful. So I could have taken that down just a little bit further. So it doesn't open here. It's not meant to open here at the top. It's meant to be a little pocket that you put your, you know, whatever into, and that you wear it around your waist. So I didn't intend to like do that with it in any way, but I thought this might be an interesting first project for me. So I did that. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's sitting in my project box over here. What other little projects did I want to show you? Oh, and then this is, I don't know. This is a project that I started. I've only mapped out a portion of it, but I'm going to be creating on this. I'm going to be stitching inside of these little bits here, these waves that I've made. So I freehand, well, okay, let's be clear. I did not freehand the circles. The circles I did use a little small saucer and got my circles on there. But then I started, these are all freehand. These waves, see, you can see freehand. Look at the mistakes there. So, and this fabric is a cotton, I think it's a heavy muslin is what it is. It's a heavy muslin, or it could be a light calico. It's one or the other. But I have a plan for this. And then this is my plan is for this to also be a wall hanging. And I tried to do, I can't remember if I was doing one a day on this. I have to go back and see. This is the thing about starting a project and not finishing it in a time frame that is, you know, manageable is that when I come back to the project, I can't always remember exactly what my intention was, which is another reason why I keep studio notes. So I know that I have a little studio notes journal about this project. So I have to just go back to it and write down what my initial intention was, because sometimes I lose sight of that if I let too much time go by between projects, right? Like I started this, I did the grid, I kind of ran out of steam after doing the grid because that took a lot of concentration and time. And then I probably wrote in my studio notes journal about it, put it to the side with the intention to come back to it. And a year and a half, almost 2 years later, here I am going, wait, I don't even remember what it is. What was my initial intention? Was I going to stitch inside one a day? Was I even going to stitch? Was I going to doodle inside? I don't know. Right. Like, so I have to go back to my studio notes for that. But I also am feeling this fabric and I'm like, oh, I hope that in my studio notes, I wrote down what this fabric is because I'm in love with it. Like I'm feeling it right now. And I'm like, whoa, I like it a lot. So hopefully I wrote down what this was, but you see my point, like just the studio notes can really help you when you're someone working with a lot of projects. It can help you stay focused and reconnect back to projects if you have to take some time away from them. Okay. Give me. Okay, where else did I want to go? What is it? This is not a bag I made. This was actually made by Rachel Barclay. The stitching was done by her. I don't know if she made the bag as well. I imagine she may have. She's an amazing sew person. Oh, this has fabric. I mean, thread in it. Lots and lots of thread. Lots of threads. Oh, that's all that's in here. Well, we don't need to look at that. I will show you this though. This is an amazing gold thread. If you're ever wanting to use gold thread, this one is, I highly recommend it. It's DMC metallic embroidery thread. It is real, like the one I showed you is not a joy to work with, but this one is a joy to work with. So is that you can get it in this, but this one, for whatever reason, I think it's because this is multi-strand and this is single strand. This one is a lot easier to work with than the ones that come on the skein like this. So highly recommend this thread. Goodness, I didn't even know I had all these threads in here. Oh, let's show these. These are really cool. I'm really excited about these threads, by the way. These are from Anchor, is the company, and they are really beautiful cotton thread that is meant for embroidery, but not on the skein, which I kind of like, y'all. I kind of like it on the spool. But the colors, like the colors that I chose, I feel so like excited about. I have a bunch of them in here, but you know, this is kind of my color palette. This sort of, every now and then I'll put a jewel tone in there, but really and truly these muted sort of earthy colors. I'm not a neon person. I don't really like pinks, and pastels are not my thing. Pastel-y colors. I am like grounded, earthy colors. That's my jam. And so like when I look at that color palette, that just brings me joy right there. Like, oh, I'm in heaven looking at those. So these are yummy. If you haven't used these and you're not familiar with them, I suggest, you know, if you want, listen, I'm not trying to be an enabler. I promise I'm not, but I am just sharing with you all the things that are bringing me joy these days. These little spools of Anchor thread, and I got these from Joann's or Hobby Lobby. No, it was Joann's. I'm pretty sure it was Joann's. So I recommend those. They are pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Okay, I think the last thing that I will show, since I can't find the other thing I wanted to show you, are these the print stitch dissolve papers. If you haven't tried these, if you're an embroidery person, Really, really cool. You can print on them through your printer. So you can print, no, we don't want to do that. You can print on them through your printer, run them through your printer. And so let's say you have a design you want to do, run that, you have it on your computer, you run these papers through your printer, and then you take this and you stick it onto your fabric that you're going to be working with. And from there, you do your stitching, and then you wash the thing, or you submerge it in water, and this paper will dissolve away. It is the quintessential definition of magic, people. It's magic. And I love it, which is why I have 2 unopened packages and a package that's open that I'm working with. So it can be a little pricey. Buy it when it's on sale. I bought these on sale, which is why when something's on sale, I buy multiples of it. So I'm like, okay, if it's on sale for half off, I might as well buy 2 for the price of what I would have paid for 1, right? So that's kind of how my brain works. Especially if it's something that I know I'm going to use over and over again. So Pellon print, stitch, dissolve paper. Really, really handy for those that have their own designs that they like to use. Okay, I'm going to say, give me one more second. I'm going to try to find one quick thing. Hold, please. I don't have anything beautiful to put here in front of the... to put on the for you to look at while I'm gone. I'm just going to step over to my closet door for a moment here. Here, I'll put this here for you to see. Be right back. Okay. You know how you think you have something, you're like, I know I have it. Where is it? I'm totally having that moment right now. I'm also realizing on Letter Day C, I didn't talk about crochet. I am not a crocheter, but I have taken a crochet class recently, earlier this year, or maybe at the end of last year, don't remember. And my goodness, it was, crocheting is not that easy. So I can't say that I'm ever going to be a crocheter, but I did take a class, just trying to see what my crochet family, what y'all are doing in the world. And I think trying new crafts helps you appreciate, number one, appreciate the crafts you are doing. But I also feel like it helps me anyway. It helps me to appreciate the people who do it as well, in a different way. So I find it helpful to take classes and learn new things in that way. Okay. I can't find the darn thing I wanted to show y'all. So maybe if I find it by tomorrow for fabric, I will share it. All right. Last thing I want to share here is Jessica's book. I mentioned Jessica Marquez's book, Make and Mend. Such a good one, especially if you are a visible mending person. Subtitle here is Sashiko Inspired Embroidery Projects to Customize and Repair Textiles and Decorate Your Home. And so she has, let's see if they have a picture of Jessica in here. I hope they do. I don't know. I'm not seeing her. No. Okay, so I don't see a picture of her, but lots of beautiful projects in here and things that, she talks about, the tools, of course, and all the things you need to get started. She talks about transferring things over, different ways to transfer things, transfer patterns. Talks about stitch length, teaches you the quilt. She's actually the person I learned the Quilter's Knot from. Was it Jessica? No. I actually learned this Quilter's Knot several years ago from, I actually learned it from Joan Alexander when I took that needlebook class from her, I think is where I learned it. So yeah, she teaches, this book has lots of little projects you can work on, like making sachets, table linens, all sorts of cool things in here. So patches, pillows, all sorts of cool things. So this is a really cool book. And here's what's crazy. When Jessica was teaching at the lake, I carried this book all the way to the lake to get her to sign it. And then I didn't get her to sign it. So I'm going to have to get her to sign it the next time I am in her life, in her energy. So Making Men, check it out if you're interested in that. But her work is really good. I think she's a really cool person to follow and to connect with. Okay. All right, loves. I think the last couple moments here, because I said I was going to be on for about an hour and a half, and I'm right up. I'm like 1 minute from that. But I want to talk about, before we skedaddle for the day, I think I will talk just a little bit about entrepreneurship and endurance. And maybe I'll do a little stitching while I talk about it. I want to reconnect to this project. It's been so long. It's been so long. Yeah, I better hold on this one because I feel like I want to go back and find the exact threads I was using, all the things. Oh, let me say this. On day 2, I was talking about bags. Project bags are my jam. Which is why I'm feeling a little bummed right now that I can't find that project that I was working on, because I usually put things in bags, like contain them as projects in bags. So that I can find them easily, so that everything stays together, so that whatever fabric I'm using, whatever threads I'm using, I put a bunch of them in that bag with the project, and then I can come back to it. So I'm a little bit, oh, wait, I know exactly where it is. I just had a moment. Hold, please. Hold. See, sometimes you just have to talk yourself into it. I knew I had it in a project bag somewhere waiting. All right. This is what I was trying to show y'all. Okay, so this is another person who I love and adore and follow her work. And I say that, and then I'm like, and I can't think of her name. Her first name is Rebecca, I'm pretty sure. And she goes by Drop Cloth Sampler is her business. And she makes these. Let's see, do I have more of her? Yep. Let's see, do I have the... Well, come on, Kyla. Okay, this is the one I think I'm working on right now. So Drop Cloth Samplers is the name of the name of her company. Her first name is Rebecca Ringquist, maybe. I can't think of her last name. That might not be right. But she does this thing where she makes these sampler patterns. And I love it because doesn't it just look like somebody's doodling? Like, isn't that amazing? I love it. So anyway, she also teaches a class on Creative Bug where she walks you through how to fill this in. So I've been a long time member of Creative Bug. I've been following them and been a member of their membership site for years now. And when she came up on their site, I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. So I didn't really do anything. I didn't buy the sampler. I didn't do anything. And then at Sacred Makers, one of our tried and true Sacred Makers, Jamie, hi Jamie, if you're watching, had this and was working on it. And she was like, I am determined to finish this weekend while I'm at the lake. And I was like, let me see this. And I looked at it and was like, oh my gosh, I know this. I know this from Creative Bug. And she was like, yeah, she has a Creative Bug thing. So I instantly came back home after the lake and went and bought this one online from her. And she happened to be having a sale. So I bought several others because why not support a small business, woman-owned place? So I bought several of them. And then I started on this first one, and I started by watching her on Creative Bug, and I made myself a creative limitation. I'm only going to use 3 colors of thread, red, black, and green, And this is how far I am so far. I stopped, I slowed way down, but I am gonna finish this. In fact, this might be the project that I continue to finish in this month. I think I can, because the thing about it, I feel like I could probably sit down and finish this in one day. It's not a lot of stitching, but every element of it is stitchable, and I really love this. So drop cloth samplers. Check her out. I think you'll really enjoy. And her energy, she's got really good energy, all the things. So I invite you to check her out and see what she's doing. And I'm gonna get, now that I found this, remember it was, so I remembered because the last time I worked on it was on a road trip, and it was in my book bag from that road trip. So yay! So I'm loving that that's there. So yay. Okay. Project bags. See, do you see the beauty of a project bag now? And yes, that part. So yeah, just in that bag, I've got all of her samplers that I own, the one I'm working on, a pair of my favorite scissors. Love these because I love scissors that have that kind of action instead of having to put the thumb, I think, in there. I like that a lot. Love it when it has a little safety lock on it. So these little needle nose ones I like a lot. I actually got these from the plant section at like Home Depot or something. I saw them and I was like, must have. They are red. Come on. Red's one of my favorite colors. All right. Yay. I'm so happy I found that. Project bags. Godsend. Okay. What can I work on while we talk a little bit more here before we call it done for the day? Oh, yeah, I'll show that tomorrow for fabric. I think my intention with this was to do a backing on it. Also, I think I want to cut this strip off. So I think I'm going to do that while I talk with you all a little bit here. So, one of the things that I have really learned as an entrepreneur is endurance. It's a concept that I don't think gets talked about enough. And it's not just a concept for entrepreneurs. I think it's a concept for creatives in general. All right, so that's looking whack. So I'm going to do I'm going to do a thing here because it looks like I have about 1/2 inch on this side. I'm going to do 1/2 inch on this side from this just to try to even that out. And it's not quite straight, so I'm going to try to straighten that out too. So endurance is a really, I think, an important concept for creatives and definitely for business owners, but for creatives for sure, right? Like in your creative life, the concept of endurance. And to me, endurance goes hand in hand with things like consistency, being consistent, consistently showing up. I think what I'll do here is probably going to create a little bit of oddness, but I'm going to be okay with that. Consistently showing up to your practice creates endurance. Consistently showing up for your community, if that's important to you, creates or requires endurance. I shouldn't say it creates endurance. It requires endurance. All right, so we're just going to treat that 1/2 inch there will be maybe where I do a little folding over. So I think it's, it's one of those things where people ask me when they come to work with me, when I'm doing one-on-one business coaching or small group business coaching, people love to ask me, it's not that they ask, but they are looking for some sort of magic wand oftentimes. Like, how do I just get my business thriving quickly? And sadly, I have to be the bearer of bad news and say to them, you don't do it quickly. You do it slowly, methodically, patiently. You give yourself grace and space. You take your time. You build a following. You build a community. You show up consistently. Like, this is how you do it. Like, there is no, I think people want there to be like a shortcut, but there really is no shortcut, y'all. I mean, maybe there are shortcuts. Let me say this. Maybe there are shortcuts. This is absolutely possible that there are shortcuts. I'm going to cut that a little bit wider. I'm going to do a little patchwork situation here. So maybe there are shortcuts, but I think that the shortcuts don't create longevity. I think the shortcuts are for quick fix, quick hit kind of things. I don't think that they create longevity in your business or in your creativity, if we're talking creativity, right? So yeah, there's that part that we have to think about. Do you want longevity, or do you want instant, like sort of like instant gratification? I like to think of it as. Or do you want to be able to build something that has legacy, that has endurance, that has longevity, and that also has integrity and credibility? Those things are important to me. I can't say that they are important to everyone, nor can I make them be important to everyone. But they are definitely important to me in my business. I care about showing up consistently, authentically as who I am. I care about, just being authentic as much as possible. Maybe even sometimes to my detriment, how much I care about that. But I do. All right, so I'm going to do a little, let's see, we can, actually, I'm going to go the other way around and back that. I like to have a backing fabric because linen and cotton, when they're thin, can actually be a headache to try to work with and stitch, which is why you see a lot of my stuff on hoops, because the hoop helps me to have some sort of stability. All right, so let's see. I'm just playing here to see how I want to do this. So yeah, if you are out there thinking about building a business, don't look for a quick fix. Like, be in it for the long haul. Understand that building a business takes time and requires patience and all the things, right? And give yourself that gift of taking your time. So this is gonna be super weird that I'm doing this way, but I like things that are kind of like piecemeal. So I'm okay with that in this moment anyway. I'm going to put a few pins on this just to hold it. So one of my biggest pieces of advice, I think, this is probably not the best way to pin this, y'all, but have I ever done anything the best way? I'm probably gonna put this on a hoop also until I start getting some pieces stitched together, because otherwise these pins are gonna be pokey stabbing me all the time. But I also want to hold this in place until I can get it started. So yeah, giving yourself time, and it takes time to build a business, I think, that you can be proud of. Like, I'm very proud of what Damon and I have built over the last 20 years. It has been a journey, lots of ups and downs. We went from online to brick and mortar to online again to I mean, we've had a lot of, we've had a lot of things that we've considered doing, that we have done. So, yeah. So I love being able to help new entrepreneurs on their journey. I don't have all the answers, and I don't work with people in every industry. I work with creatives primarily. I work with makers. I work with people who are in life transitions. So typically I work with older creatives, people who've been doing this work for some time. I think I'll start by stitching in these boxes first. That way it'll bring my two pieces together, and then I'll stitch in the corners. And then at that point, I feel like I can take those pins out. Find a needle to start. And I think also, I'll name that Damon and I also like to work with couples who are in business together, because there's a special kind of energy you have to work with your life partner and not, end up divorced on the other end of it. Like it does, I think, require a lot of conversation and communication and all sorts of things. I'm going to start with this one. In fact, I'm going to hoop it. Let's put a hoop on it. So anyway, that's the part about entrepreneurship, is that I think it can be daunting, especially if you start listening to all of the mainstream gurus telling you, the way it must be done. And I started out doing a lot of the this is how it must be done, listening to a lot of that, and then really realizing that none of that felt right for me. Not that it felt wrong to do, it just didn't feel right for me. And I'm not judging anybody who that's the way you have decided to move through the world, to kind of listen to some of those things. I attended all the webinars. I did all the things. I listened to the whole, everybody telling you that, you can build a business and also lay in your hammock for 4 days out of the week and not do, you can do that. And I was like, okay, I hear you. Also, laying in a hammock 4 days out of the week would drive me bananas. That's not the kind of business I want to build. I actually want to engage with my people, which is why I do in-person retreats, right? I want to meet you, hug you. I want to be in your energy. I want you to be in my energy. I want us to, like anybody that has ever worked with me one-on-one, I know their business is in and out. I pay attention. I listen. I'm very engaged in it. I'm invested in their business in a lot of ways. All right, so that feels good. I'm going to start with this yellow because it's threaded, and that's easy. And I'm just going to do a seed stitch here while I chat with you all. I've already got it knotted on the end there, so I'm just going to trust that. Seed stitch is one of my favorites because it doesn't require you to do any special anything, pattern or whatever. Like there is kind of a pattern in a way, but it's haphazard. So I just go in a lot of different directions with mine, and I don't try to make it be any one thing. I just stitch, often quietly, sipping tea here or there, sometimes listening to a podcast or a audiobook. So as much as I love ebooks, I also love audiobooks. So I think there's a way for creatives. A lot of the creatives I work with are also very empathic and very introverted. And those two things can be really interesting when you get into the world of traditional business building. People don't always cater to the empaths and the introverts in the world. And not to say that I cater to them. but I get them. I am them. I'm more of an ambivert, to be honest, but I think that is by training and by practice. If left to my own devices, I'm definitely introverted. But because I am the front-facing part of my business, and because I was raised by an extrovert, I know how to be, and I know how to function as an extrovert. Like after this, like this, what I'm doing right now, being here live, it is a very extroverted energy. It's a very extroverted thing. And I'm totally like jazzed up by it right now. However, every day up to this point, when this call is done, when my live is done, I go sit on my couch for about an hour, quietly, by myself, saying nothing to anyone, and recharging my battery. So I think it takes a special kind of person to coach people who are empathic and introverted, because it's energy work. That brings me to another E. It is definitely energy work. And I think there are coaches for extroverts and there are coaches for introverts. I happen to be someone who can work with both because I have that very ambiverted way of moving through the world. I want to pause for a moment. Those of you here who are, I think I need to go across. I need to keep going down so I can, my goal, I keep looking on the back because my goal is to bridge these two fabrics together. So I got to make sure I keep coming down instead of going across. So those of you here who do embroidery, yep, I'm going to really learn how to say that word properly. Those of you who are stitchers, there is I'm going to call it a device that I see people using where you clip this into a thing and it holds it for you. Do y'all know this thing I'm referring to? I know some of you here may know it. I'm also going to remind you all, or maybe for the first time tell some of you, later today, my dear friend Barb Owen is going to be, I think, on YouTube here on her channel, How to Get Creative. She does a weekly Friday stream, and Barb is a hoot. If you have not been in her energy, she is definitely someone to connect with. She's amazing. I'm going to make sure that I am ending this before Barb comes on, because sometimes I like to be on Barb's stream and listen to her and what she's got going on in the world. Okay, so I'm noticing myself going in the same direction here, so I need to vary my directionality here, or it starts to look more like running stitch than seed stitch. To me, a good day of stitching is when I don't get any knots, but I always get knots, so I guess that's not a fair thing to say. Any day that I get to stitch is a good day. How about that? Okay. All right, so I'm looking at my little list of E things here, and I think I want to end this conversation today talking about elemental astrology, because it segues from the work that I do as a business owner or as a business coach. I like to really get to know a person through their astrological chart, because our astrological charts actually can tell us a lot about what we will be good at in business, what we are hardwired to do well, to do with ease. Now it's not a prescription, and it doesn't mean you can't do other things, but it can show us, looking at our natal charts from the perspective of being creatives, being a business owner, like it can show us things. Those of you that are familiar with astrology, I invite you to take a look at your 5th house if you know astrology well enough to know what I'm talking about. If you don't, come take a class with me or get a reading with me. I'm happy to do that. But your 5th house shows you a lot about your creativity, your preferences around creativity, your tendencies around creativity, your imprinted energy. It also can show you where your joy, how you find joy in the world, how you are meant to find joy in the world. So 5th house is one of the first places I look for folks. And there are other places, but on an elemental astrology level, I also like to look at the elements in a person's chart, right? What's happening in the fiery places of the chart, because fire is our inspiration. It's our creative spark. Where am I? Oh, come up some, Kiala. Trying to really bridge these two fabrics together. So I spend a lot of time looking at the fiery parts of a person's chart so that I can see what some of their tendencies and maybe even some of the preferences around inspiration and how they might keep themselves inspired, get inspired, find inspiration. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if I'm doing a good job or a bad job here. How about I just start? How about I just start doing it on purpose here? Just go to the back and find where I want to drop the needle so that I can really start to bring those pieces together. I don't like that drop there. That's not a good one. So, yeah, elementally. So looking at fire, air, earth, water in a person's chart, right, will really tell me a lot about how to support them in finding that which inspires them, helping them sort of discover what some of their gifts, talents, and passions might be. We all have these innate gifts, these innate things that we just come here knowing how to do. We're really good at them. We don't know why. And then there are things that are kind of hidden in there about us that we can cultivate and turn into a talent, right? We can become talented at something by doing it over and over again. Also, I can look at a person's chart and see a lot about their relationship with money. And that's the number one thing people come to me. They're like, I don't know how to price my things. I don't know how to, right? I can also look in their chart and tell them what might be helpful in terms of their marketing strategy, right? So there's a lot that, people like to look at astrology as sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to drop that. They like to look at astrology as a, it's bad because you're predicting and you're, it has a stigma associated with it for sure, that the world has, in some ways, adopted. Not the whole world. Let me not make it seem like the whole world. There's a whole bunch of us in the world who use astrology on a daily basis to live our lives better, to feel more empowered. So there's definitely that group. I think we might be the minority in the world, but I know that the work of astrology is powerful. I have seen it. I've seen it help people move the needle. I've seen it help people manifest the things in their lives that they most want. I've seen it help people who are going on a path that doesn't feel authentic to them. I've seen it help them get themselves back in alignment fully and truly and completely with who they're meant to be. It's also why I bring in human design. I'll talk more about human design on my H day to everything that I do, because it helps people to get to know themselves on a deeper level. It helps them uncover the mystery of who they are, so that they can live fully and truly into that energy. So, elementally, fire, air, earth, water. You don't really have to know a lot about astrology to understand the elements. Like if I said to you, what happens when you put fire and water together? If fire is dominant and you put fire and water together, what do you get? You get boiling water, right? Like even just that is can be helpful. All right, let's see where I'm going. And then I'm going to want to go up. Okay. So little things like that. Like what happens when you get earth and water together, and earth is dominant? You get mud, right? You get muddiness. How does that show up? How does muddiness show up in your life? Right? Like there's so many ways that we can just look at the elements, and you don't have to know a single thing about astrology or tarot or anything, but we all interact with earth. We all interact with water. We all interact with the air, and we all interact in some shape, form, or fashion with fire. Right? So if you just start there, it can serve you and go a long way to helping you understand yourself and your energetic way of moving through the world. One of the first things I do when I give people an astrology reading is I show them their dominant element, and the way that element wants to show up through them, wants to express through them. So whether that energy is fixed, whether that energy is mutable, or whether that energy is cardinal. And those three things, knowing those things, can serve you for years to come in your life. All right, let's look at how I'm doing here with bridging these two. I guess I'm doing fine. I think in retrospect, now that I look at it, I'm like, it's not so much about bridging it as it is about just tacking this down to this fabric. So I don't think I had to worry so much about that as I was thinking I had to worry. So feeling good about it. I'm going to do a few more stitches here because I'm almost running out of thread. And I am one of those, well, the needle just came off. So I was going to say, I'm one of those people that really pushes the thread to its ultimate limit. And then I say that and the thread comes right off the needle, almost as if it's saying, we're done here. Stop it. See if I can't thread that and get a few more stitches in. So yeah, those of you that are here, do you know your sun sign? Like what sun sign you were born under? I'll tell you your element, but that doesn't mean that's your dominant element. It just means that's your sun sign element. And you may already know, and that's good. If you do, you're my people for real. Oh my gosh, I cannot thread this needle. So I think I'm going to call it done because this is, I didn't bring out the little needle threader. And also, I don't have my glasses. That's the real problem here. I don't have on my glasses. Angelisa says, unfortunately, I don't know anything about astrology. That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. You're still my people. You're still my people. But I do think it serves creatives, especially creatives and business owners. I think it would go a long way for you to know a little something about your astrological makeup. Even if you don't, I always tell this is one of the first things I say too in an astrology reading with people. Astrology is not a religion. It does not require your belief in it for it to work. It's working on you and in you every single day from the moment you have taken a breath, the moment you took a breath on earth side. It was the cosmos were working in your favor. We're working to welcome you, the miracle of you, to this realm. So you don't have, it's not a religion. It doesn't require your belief. Um, if you don't believe me, just watch how the moon affects the tides. It affects the water. We are nothing but water. We're made of water, which is why we're also so very moody. The moon is always moving, shifting, changing, going into a new sign, right? It's always doing that, which means we are always being influenced by that as well, right? So knowing things like what your moon sign is can take you a long way. You don't have to become an astrologer, right? You really just need to be a student of you. Study you, study who you are. That's really what our mystery school is all about. We want you to study who you are so that you can be a better version of you. Okay, let's see if I can get one more stitch in there. I'm really pushing it. I'm really pushing it. I'm really pushing it. I know, but I do that. Okay, I'm going to call it. So we've got, speaking of, we've got this eclipse happening soon. And it is a big one. It's getting a lot of attention. I mean, when they start talking about astrological things in the, when they start talking about astrological things in the mainstream, that's when you know it's like a big deal, right? So a few years ago, everybody in the mainstream was talking about the Great Conjunction, Jupiter and Saturn and all the things, right? So I am of the mindset that when it is, well, that's a good start there. When it comes to the mainstream, I'm like, okay, now people have caught on to it. I think I'll use a little bit of this thread for one of them. Like when the mainstream gets a hold of it and starts talking about it, then you really know it's something to pay attention to. It's a big deal, right? And so let's see if I can thread this needle again without glasses. Oh, look at that. Woo! Okay. The little things that excite me, y'all. I'm sure y'all are getting a kick out of that. I am very easily excited by little things. Sorry, I'm going quiet on you for a moment here so that I can get this threaded. Get my little quilter's knot on the end there. When it might have been Karen Stevens actually who taught me this. I took a class from her on Tattered as well. In fact, I think it was her. I took this class from her. 2021 maybe, and it was pretty awesome. I think I'm debating if I want to move my hoop. I don't even know if I need all the pins if I'm going to be using a hoop, you know what I mean? Okay, so the eclipse coming up. Oh, wait, let me go back because let's see. Angelisa says, all I know is I'm a Scorpio. Okay, so this is going to be fun. I'm just going to work on the bottom half of that. I'm not even going to try to It's going to be fun trying to get this hoop around that and my needles. But I persist, and it happens. So Scorpio energy is a fire energy, fiery energy in the best of ways. It's also, sorry, did I say Scorpio? Hold on. Let me back this up. My brain is being super weird. Ooh. I'm drinking water. Give me a second. I realize I haven't had any water in a minute. Wow. I really haven't had water. I've been talking for like almost 2 hours and haven't had water. So there's that. Okay. Nice. I needed that. I didn't realize how much I needed that. Okay. Phew. I needed water, y'all. Somebody's gonna have to tell me to drink drink water, stop and drink water from time to time, because clearly I don't know how to do it myself. I need an adult to tell me that. So I'm gonna back up because I think I just said to you all that Scorpio is fire, Scorpio is water. So let me back that up again. The water. Ooh, okay. It's an intense water energy too. It is very much. Oh, I really did need that water. How funny too. As soon as I said Scorpio is fire, I was like feeling like I was about to dehydrate. It's almost like the universe was like, girl, you know Scorpio is water. Quit playing. So Scorpio being water is actually one of the more intense water energies. It's a deep dive in water energy. It is a deep feeling energy. All the water signs are feeling energies. Scorpio energy is a very passionate energy as well. I don't know why I can't get this to be as tight as I want it. Okay, I'm going to trust that that's tight enough. But it is, so when we think about water, right, and we think about Scorpio, it's interesting because Scorpio is also associated with the scorpion, right, the little animal scorpion. All right, that's good enough for what I'm trying to do here. Which is an animal that actually walks on earth, right? Walks on the earth. So it has this ability to kind of, so let me say this for everyone here. Scorpio, we all have Scorpio in us. I don't even know what kind of stitch I want to do here. Let me pause for a moment. I think I'm going to do just a running stitch. So Scorpio energy is in all of us. We are all of us are all 12 of these signs. So even though we're born under a particular sun sign, we are all 12 of these signs in a different configuration, in a different sort of recipe, right? Think of baking a cake. Everybody's gonna have some flour, some kind of flour. You're gonna have some kind of binder in there. You're gonna have some sort of you're going to have all these ingredients. Maybe you'll use eggs, but all cakes are likely going to start with some sort of flour. right? And so if I gave you 12 ingredients and I said, here, make a cake, and I gave that to 10 different people, I could potentially get 10 different cakes. More than likely, I'm getting 10 different cakes. Okay. That's how astrology works. We all have these energies working in us, for us, and around us, but in different ways. They want to express through us in different ways. And so there's a lot of nuance. I'm not going to try to give you all the nuance in this moment, but there's a lot of nuance to astrology. But I needed to say that because I think a lot of times when we don't know a lot about astrology, we tend to, goodness gracious. All right, I think I've done something weird with my needle here. I can't get my, this is what happens when I try to talk and do things. We are all 12 of these signs. I just want to reiterate that. That's a really important concept in understanding yourself through astrology, is understanding that you are more than just your sun sign. But the sun sign is the easiest thing for us to determine because it's just based on the day you were born. And so a lot of people will walk around thinking for a lifetime that that's all they are, right? But you are so much more than that. We all are. And that's why I love teaching astrology and doing readings for people, because then you start to see yourself as this more complex human, because we are more complex than just, I'm just my sun sign, right? And I think that that is important to know. So I wanted to name that. If you don't leave here today with anything else from me around astrology, it is that we are all 12 of these signs, and we all have these same planets working in us and on us and around us, influencing us. I'm going to have to rethread this needle, because I think my thread is, when it's really thin thread like this, it does weird things if it's not precise. And I think that mine is not precise. So yes, so going back to Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign. Come on. I am so bummed by this knot right now. Hold on. It's a mess. It is a mess right here. And it's an intense water sign. It is a sign that, so wherever we have Scorpio in our charts, because we all have it, is where we all have a tendency, where we likely, you'll hear me use lots of words like likely, perhaps, maybe, where you likely have, oh my God, this knot is going to kill me. Where you likely have the ability to go really deep with things, deep emotional things. All right, I'm gonna cut this, and I'm gonna cut my losses because this is driving me bonkers. Let's just take this and get out. Let's get out. That was a mess. So you have the Scorpio energy. Wherever we have that, we have this innate ability to go really deep on an emotional level. And oftentimes quickly. We can go there quickly. Y'all, I have no idea which piece of thread I'm pulling on. Are y'all sick of watching me do this? I'm sick of watching me try to figure this out. It's also Scorpio energy is where we often will find ourselves able to, there it is. Okay. Able to destroy things easily and not worry about it. Like, not in a bad way, but like to go, you know what? This isn't serving me anymore. So I'm over it. I'm done with it. That's it. Enough of that. It's ruled by an energy that really supports that. It is not just about destruction, but it's also about creation. Scorpio energy is where we have this ability to create and destroy things in this beautiful, it's like a symbiotic relationship, death and rebirth kind of energy, um, where we get to bring new life into the world. Where we have Scorpio energy in our charts, we are very passionate about things, about people, about our beliefs, but mostly about our feelings, because it's a water sign. It's a very feeling energy. Very intuitive also. Super, super resourceful. Scorpio energy is super resourceful. All right, I'm going to stop with this right now because I need to find my glasses. I'm really struggling to put this thread in this needle. Plus, I know I've been going way longer than I said I was going to go. So I'm going to say a few more things here about our Scorpio energy. Drink the rest of my tea and call it a day for us. All right, so last but not least, I'll say a few more things. Scorpio energy, I think, is also where we have the ability to really know ourselves on a deeper level, because we can be really passionate about knowing ourselves in those areas of life where Scorpio is impacting us in our charts. And that's a longer, bigger conversation, because there's a whole system in astrology that helps you know which areas of life to really focus that energy on. And so Scorpio energy gives us the ability, the fact that we all have it in us, it gives us the ability to make deeper connections with people on an emotional level. It helps us to feel passionate about things, to have strong, passionate feelings about the stuff that we care about, the people we care about, the things we believe in. It's where people might say those areas of life for us where they're like, oh my gosh, you're so emotional when it comes to this, that, or the other. It's also where we tend to be a little mysterious. Scorpio energy is kind of a mysterious energy, or can be a very mysterious energy. But it's also where we have the ability to be really assertive, to stand up for ourselves, to protect the things that we care about and love. Think about a scorpion. Have you ever seen a scorpion? It's got that little stabby, stingy tail on it. That's because it's ready to protect itself if it needs to, right? And protect those it loves, or protect the things that it cares about. And so it's that energy. I mean, I could sit here and talk all day about Scorpio energy, but we all have this, we all have Scorpio in us. So we all have all of those things that I just named. Finding out where in life, which areas of our lives it is impacting, is actually really powerful. Like, once you go, oh, this is why I'm like that in these areas of life. This is why this Scorpio energy is trying to express. So for instance, I'll just give you a quick example. And a lot of this may not make any sense to anybody if you don't know astrology, but if you have, let's say you have I talked about the fifth house earlier. Let's say you have the Scorpio in the fifth house. Well, you are likely going to be someone who's really passionate about creativity. You're likely going to be someone who is passionate about the things that bring you joy, the things that you consider hobby, and very passionate about expressing yourself creatively, because Scorpio energy wants to express itself through that fifth house in you. It wants to express itself through those areas of your life. And so when you start to understand your astrological makeup and the areas of life where certain energies want to express themselves, then you can start to get in line with that and actually harness that energy in a way that makes you more in alignment with your imprinting, right? Like, I sit here and talk astrology with y'all forever. But here's what I'm going to say. Stay tuned. I do have an introduction to astrology for creatives coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. That's coming. And I'd love to see you there in that class. It's going to be part live, part self-study. Because the thing about astrology is it's a lifelong pursuit, right? Like you're gonna have to make a commitment to want to study that thing about yourself, right? To really know it. So I give you some self-study parts because you're gonna want to return to things over and over again. Those of you in my pulp and paint community, we've been talking and learning astrology for 8 years, and it's just a really beautiful way of getting to know yourself. And then when you start to know yourself more fully, your creativity will explode. Your creativity will become this thing that um, you just didn't even know you were capable of some things, right? When you start to really see where your preferences and your tendencies are, where you start to see some of your patterns and decide whether or not you want to continue those patterns or change those patterns because maybe they're not serving you. Because there's a whole conversation around nature and nurture we have to have as well, right? So, all right, I'm gonna go because I'm looking at the time and holy crap, y'all let me go for 2 hours. You have to stop me, people. You have to stop me. You have to write in the chat, Kyla, you have been going for 2 hours. I'm surprised my husband didn't come in here and go, we got to go run errands, right? All right, friends. I love y'all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for indulging me and letting me share all my stitching projects and things. And oh my gosh, my mind is even blown right now where I'm like, oh my God, I have projects that I have been working on and saying I'm going to work on forever. And I need to get to getting them done. So I'm going to take with me in the car as we're running errands today, my drop cloth sampler and continue working on that and see if I can't finish that thing up pretty soon here. So I love y'all. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Friday. I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for day F. Thank you for yesterday because I was convinced today was going to be day F and it was Friday and we'll talk about fountain pens and today was E. So tomorrow we will talk fountain pens. We will talk fabric. We'll talk about fabric books, fabric in general. I'll show you some F letter books like the Flexagon books. I'll show you some fabric books I've been working on. I'll show you the fan book, the flower fold book, and the French link book. I'll have all of those stacked out here to show you those. And I don't know if we'll get to making anything tomorrow. We'll see, but we're definitely going to talk about fountain pens. That's going to be the bulk of our conversation tomorrow. So come on back. I look forward to seeing you there if you can make it. If you're watching the replay, please leave comments below. If you have questions, always ask. I'm happy to answer them. All right. Much love. Y'all have a beautiful rest of your Friday. See ya.